Okay, welcome everybody. Great to see you all for the EMIL Workshop, European Media and Immersion Lab. And maybe I can have all the speakers who will be doing the presentation with me up front. We're going to quickly introduce ourselves and then guide you through, as we hope, good information or helpful information about the EMIL project, the first call and the second call that's going to start soon. I'll start with a quick introduction of myself. My name is Volker Helsler. I run the Research and Development Lab at Animationsinstitut of Filmakademie. And
hi there, my name is Markus Korhonen. I'm the director of Aalto Studios, which is the Future Media Center of Aalto University in Finland.
Yeah. Hello everyone, I'm Juhani Tenhunen from Aalto Studios, also from Aalto University, and I'm running the project.
Hi, I'm Alexander Kreische from Filmakademie Baden-Württemberg, and I am working as project manager on the EMIL project.
Hello, I'm Jonas Trotnor and also working for the EMIL project from Filmakademie side.
Yes.
Okay, hello, my name is Narcis Pares. I'm the IP of the EMIL node at Pompeu Fabra University in Barcelona.
Yeah, hello, my name is Yu Xiao. I'm associate professor from Aalto University leading the Wearable Systems Lab.
Okay, and how do we change the slides? Okay. I can go there myself as well, that's fine. So I bet it's the one going to the right. Just click here. Okay, so we are here to introduce you guys European Media and Immersion Lab. And although we are all coming from universities, this is really about the industry, so you guys here. And what we aim to do, officially, we have a 30-month project where we're going to create this XR infrastructure and especially XR knowledge and innovation network all across Europe. And for this thing to be effective, it's not about the 4 universities we have on board of this project, but we really want to get the industry as much involved as possible. And we've got 8 million together for the whole budget of the project, and actually we are giving 5.6 million out to the industry guys, both for the content creators and technology creators. But let's have a look at this video about the project.
EMIL. The European Media and Immersion Lab is an innovation action funded by the European Union, with the UK partner being co-funded by Innovate UK. EMIL is a physical and virtual laboratory infrastructure underpinned by technological and creative expertise and research excellence from 4 key creative industry regions in Europe: Finland, Germany, Spain and the United Kingdom. The consortium is led by Aalto University and includes Filmakademie Baden-Württemberg, Universitat Pompeu Fabra and University of Bath. The overall aim of EMIL is to promote innovation and development of next-generation XR content, services and applications. EMIL synergises the expertise and capabilities of internationally leading institutions, bringing together excellence in narrative media production, smart garments, animation, VFX, embodied interaction, digital cultural heritage, digital health, motion capture and analysis, scientific research and technological development. EMIL will cultivate a strong relationship with the creative industry community, realised through financial support to third party, FSTP. Project calls designers, game developers, engineers, entrepreneurs, media enterprises, artists, digital fabricators, museum and heritage curators, physical and cognitive caregivers, creative coders, users, citizens and public service media operators. EMIL will also help foster connections between the creative industry community and other potential innovation partners across Europe. 2 open calls will be announced for proposals to be funded in the range of €250,000 to €500,000, with a total budget for third-party projects of €5.6 million. Additionally, each EMIL node will create an XR Lighthouse project around its core competence: smart garments, group-oriented augmented reality, immersive health and exercise, and narrative storytelling in XR. Stay up to date with the latest information about EMIL by visiting our website at emil-xr.eu and our social media channels, and get your proposals ready for EMIL. Extend your reality.
I guess that's a wrap then. No, not really. But a lot of good information there, and hopefully a lot of thematics that you guys feel connected to. So why is your opinion in funding something like this? If we think about the digitalization, European Union and Europe in general hasn't been quite as successful as, for example, US, which has been doing great, Asia, which has been doing really great, with all these, social media giants or platform companies. All of them are outside Europe. So obviously in Europe, we need to do better. And why Europe hasn't been so successful? Often it's been acknowledged that Europe, with these digital industries, one of the things that's really hampering Europe is the fragmentation of Europe. Obviously that's great diversity, another way to put it, but when we think about digital companies, when we think about scaling innovation, this thing that, even though we've got a great market altogether, it is really fragmented. We've got, tens of different languages. We've got borders. We've got national borders, which also come with legal borders. So when you start to scale a digital product or service, not that straightforward. So that's why in EMIL, it's about, developing that whole of European network with the XR technologies and bringing together the different players in the creative economy. So yes, we are bringing the research side, but we really want to encourage also the industry to get involved with these FSTP projects. So all kinds of, and what I want to really underscore here, that this is not just about the technologies, but it's in a similar manner about content development within the industry. So we really want to bring all the different players and all the different sides of XR development around the same table. So first open call, that actually already went. So if you did not leave your application for even 500,000 there, that's gone. But luckily, we've got a second call coming up. But maybe it's time to let the other guys to talk as well. So Volker, please.
Thanks, Markus, for the key objectives and introduction to the project. So, and the idea is really, so we're going to pitch this information to you, and then you can ask all the questions and things that come to your mind about this project. And what I want to present to you is some slides about the core competence of these 4 nodes that build the EMIL infrastructure. So Aalto University is the coordinator of the project. They're in Finland, and then we have Universitat Pompeu Fabra in Barcelona. They have a lot of focus on embodied interaction, cultural heritage, and we have University of Bath. They're deeply engaged in digital health topics and psychology and rehabilitation related topics. We have Filmakademie Baden-Württemberg, including FMX, with a strong focus on narrative storytelling in our teaching structure. VFX and virtual production, of course, have been a topic for over 15 years in various research projects. And then let's get back to the Aalto University with the Smart Haptics and Garments Lab that U is leading. So there's a lot of information and knowledge on how to build garments that could interact with virtual environments and could give you a sensation feedback and a large body of scientific work in that area. So that together forms certain sectors where your submission proposal could benefit from the knowledge of the EMIL nodes. But if you have a completely different and totally wild project, that's also fine. You don't need to adopt to any of these sectors. It's just to show that we've grouped together for this project because we thought that within these 4 partners, we have great knowledge that complements each other to do diverse XR projects. And you can also see there's other events related like FMX. So for instance, there's Slush, which I haven't attended, but I hear it's the Burning Man for startup companies. So one day in my life, I want to go there. Next November, yeah. I actually, so you come, but you're asking for funding, right? That's Slush. Oh, yeah.
Slush is, yeah. So basically, very quickly. So when you guys have, got the funding from us and you've created a fantastic new product for the XR industry, then you need to come with that to Slush. And that's where Aalto University students actually established this huge event where they actually, for example, they fly in private investors from San Francisco there to hear pitches from startup companies from all over the world. So yeah, that's what Slush is about. And you should be there next November just to check it out.
Sounds good. Okay, and then there's another, it's more of a matrix with, again, technology and research sectors where we have a certain strength. Given the size of Aalto University, which is almost like a city in its own, you can see that there's a lot of competence there. Again, with Filmakademie, of course, we have the strongest angle in animation, effects, filmmaking, storytelling, interactive content. But this is just to help you and show you the variety of what we offer as consortium that builds EMIL. And with these 2 slides, we transition into the Lighthouse projects.
Okay, so I will continue from here. I'll tell you a bit more about the 4 Lighthouse projects. So, at Aalto University in Finland, so we focus on textile-based haptic interfaces for VR. So more specifically, we are currently developing a smart shirt that can let users experience different temperatures and sense the liquid objects such as hot steam in VR. And our first use case is Finnish sauna. And you can imagine in a country with 3 million sauna, of course, this is our first use case. And later in this project, we plan to open source our hardware design and APIs, hopefully already end of this year. So you can also develop your new haptic experience using such devices. And then we move to University of Bath. And Bath has been working on virtual stroke rehabilitation. I think you can see some of the pictures also here. And they have focused on gamification of physical exercises and real-time analysis of effective responses, or we can say user feelings. So they will provide software tools for developers and content creators to integrate physical activities and user feelings to drive the actions and interactions within virtual environments. And this tool will target common game engines such as Unity and Unreal Engine. And now we come to Filmakademie. So Filmakademie focuses on narrative location-based entertainment. And we know when you try to add a physical interaction to the VR experience, it usually requires a quite complex and dedicated setup on specialized locations. And within EMIL, so Filmakademie aims to develop a scalable experience that can be consumed individually seated in the room scale environment or in the large scale environments with other users. And they will also study how to tell a compelling story utilizing the novel capability of such location-based entertainment. The last but not the least, Pompeu Fabra University is developing a novel AR device called AR Magic Lantern, and I believe you have seen it in the video we have just shown. And this Magic Lantern is based on the concept of a world as support. And instead of clamping users' attention on the screen of a mobile device, I think this is a very smart and really novel idea that with the so-called world as support paradigm, and the mobile devices become a sort of magic lantern and light. And technically, this device can recognize the geolocation of the user to determine what needs to be projected. It can also understand the geometry and properties of the physical environment to adapt the projected output to that specific space. And such device can be applied to implement shared, co-located, group-oriented experience for public spaces, such as virtual heritage, digital tourism, and etc. And I hope it gives you some idea what we are doing, and we are very happy to share our knowledge and experience with you with all the FSTP projects as well.
I think it's you. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. This looks familiar to me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Who can apply this money? This is about this kind of a quite dull thing, but it's important to know that you can apply it. So it's for the European Union member states, legal entities who can apply it. It can be a company, it can be a public entity, and then also Horizon Europe associated countries can apply. And I need to mention here that UK wasn't possible to apply in the first call, and probably not in the second call either. It's yeah, they are not in the Horizon Europe, and we have a University of Bath here, so that was a little bit disappointed to us that it finally couldn't be true that UK was involved in this. But anyway, we are trying to go to that direction as well, that they can apply in the next call. And then, of course, the second point: the applicants must have enough resources to run the project, and they must be registered in the one of the countries legally, and have financial resources enough to do it, and of course pay taxes and other contributions. What are the legal thing to do? If there are anything, then we can't give the funding. Then about the subcontractors, there are some. That is a little bit difficult question. We can't handle that. We do not apply. We do not fund consortiums, but then subcontractors could be used, but then of course the subcontractors must apply the same rules that what the main contractor do have. Yeah, and let's go to the next. And this is the timeline of the funding. Yeah, this line describes the entire project time. And then the first call was here. It was opened in December last year, and then a deadline was at the end of January. And then now we have the evaluation period and negotiations going on, and we will release the result very soon. Yeah, and then there is 15 months to run the project. Next deadline is in August this year, and the call will open now in June. There will be a couple of control points in between. And it will be published in Horizon Europe participant portal and of course also for our own website. Oh, now can we somehow move this to some other place, maybe here? Now we can see everything. Yeah, great. This is some of the statistics of the first call. And we got 90 applications from 19 countries. And here we can see that Finland, 5 million people living in Finland, got quite many applications. Germany 12, Spain 16, no UK. And then some other countries. Quite interestingly, Ireland and Denmark, which are about the same size than Finland, they sent quite many applications as well. But very interesting was, and very good one, was that there were some applications from the former Eastern European countries, Romania, Bulgaria, Czechia, and of course the Baltic countries were quite active too. And then, yes, then the evaluation process is quite demanding. We got 90 applications. They must go through 3 evaluators, outside evaluators from the partners, and yes, yeah, we have 52 IEP members, independent expert panelists, who then evaluated the projects, and that was a big job they did. Thanks for the evaluators. I think was the. Yeah, this was my part. Thanks. And Alex continues.
Thank you, Juhani. So yeah, we can leave the preview of the other side here. Everybody can read everything, I hope. What's important to us and what is one of the prerequisites of the funding call is the TRL level. That is something that was originally in the published call of the European Commission in which we participated, and it presupposes projects that apply to start at TRL level 4 and reach TRL level 8 in the end of the project. If you don't know what TRL stands for, it's Technology Readiness Level. It originally was a system for space engineering from NASA, but the EU has adapted it for tech developments, and it is necessary for being funded. However, it is important to us that content-based applications are encouraged to apply as well, and it's quite hard to apply the technology readiness level to content production. So in the next slide you'll see a system that we try to indicate where on the TRL scale content production could be found on an equivalent level to the technology level. So we just want to stress at this point that for us it's very important, as Marcus already emphasized in the beginning, that we equally encourage content production funding projects. So another important point for FSTP applications is that in relation to the lighthouses. So as you've heard, each of the 4 partners does their own lighthouse projects, smart garments, digital rehab, the location-based XR, and the Magic Lantern by Pompeu Fabra, but it is not a necessary prerequisite for funding to be attached or linked with a lighthouse project. So there's no need to state in your proposal any link to those lighthouse projects. You can do something entirely else and still be funded. These lighthouse projects serve as a lighthouse to see what we are doing, what our knowledge, expertise level is aiming at, and where you can, find more expertise and mentoring maybe or support from our side. The FSTP application is checked at the 4 nodes, the 4 partners, so please be sure to also inform yourselves what research and developments have been undertook at those 4 partner institutions, not to start with a project that does exactly something that's already been done at the partner institution, so don't reinvent the wheel. As Juhani already mentioned, at this point, the funding decision with UKRI in regard to UK funding is proceeding slowly, so we cannot guarantee that UK projects will be funded during the second call. It wasn't possible in the first call. We still hope that there might be some turn of events, and what would be ideal, of course, would be for the UK association to Horizon Europe to take place. Then it would be easy, as would be a piece of cake, but at this point in time we cannot guarantee it, and it seems a little bit improbable to be happening fast. And I think there's the table exactly, so TRL 4 to TRL 8. On the left side you can find the EU definition. This table is also on our website in the information for applicants, and on the right side a proposal that we formulated for XR media productions or content production. So at TRL 4 is technology validated in lab in the EU definition, and we aim at a plan for testing a developed concept. So it's very important not to state in the timeline of your proposal, well, we'll start in month 1 with developing a concept. That needs to be done at this point in time. There should be an advanced production schedule, some prototyping going on, some scripts, some initial production happening. And TRL 8 is system complete and qualified, or the content production complete and qualified, ready for publishing. Basically, one step further would be that it's already out in public, published. All right, and I think that is my turn to hand over to Narcisse.
Hello, yes, thank you, Alex. So as my colleagues have been saying, we will be funding third-party projects. However, the differential aspect of EMIL with respect to other funding bodies is that we will also be providing support for these projects to reach a successful end. The idea is not that we produce those projects, because that's why we're giving so much money away, between 250,000 and 500,000 euros for 15 months projects is quite a bit of money. So the proposants should be self-sufficient, should be able to do all that on their own account. However, they can ask for support from us, not only in expertise and in guidance for technical aspects, for logistic aspects. Also, we can provide a certain set of tools and libraries, for example, for developing certain aspects. There is a full list of all of this in our website, so I recommend you to go and check those there, so that you can see all that we can provide and all the tools that you have at your disposition. And also, you can ask for access to certain facilities if needed during the production process or the development process of your projects. Therefore, in your proposals, you should always state, there's a final section in the proposal template that asks you to link your project and your proposal to one of the 4 nodes, or to a couple of those nodes if you feel that you would need help from more than one, so that if your project is selected, then during the negotiation process, we will negotiate with you what that access would really be. We will time it. We will define a budget in time that you will have access to those facilities, or to that guidance from each of the experts in our nodes. And as you start the project and you make use of those resources, those will be discounted out of your time budget for those aspects. But this is something that is very interesting, because not only are we creating a network of knowledge with everyone, and the projects are part of that network by default, but also we are exchanging knowledge. We can support your projects, and we can give you facilities for doing all that if needed. So we encourage you to really think about all this and make a good use of our resources, because as you saw in the first few slides, when Volker presented our expertise and our knowledge, there's a lot of things that you can take advantage of. Thank you.